Peace and power. All right. Got that going. Got the live stream happening. Um, Let me prepare my other notes here. Mhm. And of course, we're going to take some time out to allow people to join the stream. Uh, so if you come in early, bear with me. Nobody's in there right now, so why am I talking? I got to get used to this live world. Got to get used to it. Y'all excuse my hair. I'm at that midpoint trying to lock up. Yeah. All right. That's what's up. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mama Nicole. So step away for a second. Grab some notes. Oh, peace and power. We got a couple of viewers on. We're just gonna let some people give some people a chance to find the stream. Let me know who you are in the comments. You know, YouTube, you don't get the benefit like Facebook, like tell you exactly who's watching. So shout out to me in the comments so I know that you're there. I appreciate your time. Promise not to be long, but I promise to be strong. Peace, Tech. All right, all right. All the way from Fort Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Please give my best to the king and to the princess as well. Once a pharaoh, always a pharaoh. She is a true genius, a true genius. All right. Oh, Tiffany Whitaker, peace and light to you as well. You know, peace and light to you as well. I'm honored that you're taking time out on this Sunday to be with us for a few moments. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. Thank you, Asante. Yeah. So we're going to talk about being woke AF, woke and focused today. All right. Yeah. Yeah. And we're just beginning a dialogue. We're beginning a dialogue about what does it mean to be woke. Uh, uh, um, you know, not necessarily what you should believe, but more so, what is conscious? What is Black consciousness? Getting control of that definition before it gets away from us. Getting exercising some kuji chakalia, some self-determination, before some of these definitions, some of these terms become derogatory. When they don't need to be. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about that. You know. I never thought I'd be insult. Like I never thought I'd be called conscious and it'd be an insult. You know what I'm saying? To be called conscious or to be called woke. What does that mean? But we're gonna get into it. It's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be pretty cool. We of course gonna blend in a little history, in there as well. And yeah, I think we got a pretty good short presentation on deck today. I want to evolve this presentation. I want to evolve this dialogue. You know what I'm saying? As well to be, develop it into an effective teaching tool. Let me know if y'all identify, but making that transition into consciousness or making that transition into working towards Black liberation on any level can be a traumatic experience. You know what I'm saying? For some of our people, and I've seen our people engage in this type of mentality, this type of work, engage in being proud of self, maybe want to learn the history, and then next thing you know, they're disenfranchised from their families. They're depressed. I've seen people lose their jobs. I've seen people revert back to self-destructive behavior as well. So it can happen, right? It can definitely happen. So we definitely want to have that dialogue. Excuse me, I got an important text. Okay. Yeah. So that's what today is about, right? And we're gonna give. And thank you, Santet. And we're gonna give. It's just 11:01. You know what I'm saying? So why don't we give people a few minutes to find us, and then we can get right into what we want to talk about today. Think of an ancestor too that you'd like us to pay homage to, whose name you'd like me to call today. I don't have my plant. I'm up here in DFW working on a project. I don't have my plant with me, but we can definitely call out the names of our ancestors. And if somebody would pour, then that would be cool. If you want to pour libation in your plant, then that would be cool. All right. Let me see. Yeah. Griffin, Ashe. And as you come in, if you would make a comment, just shout out, let me know that you're here. That would be cool as people come in. And you know me, if you don't catch it live, you can always catch it later. I understand we got people out doing the Easter thing today. It's something not, plenty not, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. All right. Yeah. Ashe. We pay homage to Maddie Copeland Fishers. Ashe. Alma Griffin. Ashe. I want to pay homage to Billy McAleen. That's my auntie. She was like a second mother, and we call her Aunt Bill, and she loved to go over our house. She's one of them Black mamas that cook fish and spaghetti every Friday. Like she loved to go there. She would make this spicy spaghetti, Used to love Aunt Bill's spaghetti, and yeah, she used to just shower me with love, hugs, and kisses. I miss my auntie. She's been with me. She's been on my mind. She was actually in my dreams this week. So I definitely want to shout out Aunt Bill, Billy McLean. My second mother. My mother when I wasn't with my mother. When I was a child. Uh, yeah, yeah. Miss my auntie, man. It's don't take for granted that you have. Beautiful, beautiful people in your life and people who show you genuine love in your life. Don't ever take that for granted. I don't care what's going on. Don't take that for granted, and always remember those who fed you love. And Bill was one of those people for me. And so yeah, and I pray and I'm sure you wouldn't call out Alma Griffin, Satet, if you didn't feel the same way. And Tiffany, I'm sure you wouldn't call Maddie, Miss Maddie, unless you felt the same way as well. You know what I'm saying? It's so important that we pass that on to our children. Don't allow your children to forget your ancestors. So Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Okay, let me see here. Check on some things. And make this quick comment. And we're going to get started. Cool. I say, all right. Well, peace and power, y'all. This your brother Baba Amin. This is a Baba Amin Speaks. It's a series that we do every Sunday. In I'm laughing because I've been transitioning from Houston up here to DFW to put in some work, and I've been back and forth, and and so I'm not settled, so to speak. We're working, but we're not settled in, and it's messed with the consistency of what we do on Sundays. But we're bringing it black. We're bringing it black. When you have to step away for a second, what's important is that you pave the way back. And so we're here. We're here, and I thank Creator and I thank the ancestors for the opportunity to share. If it's just for one person, that's fine. It's going to get to who it needs to get to. So peace and power to everybody watching the video right now, and everybody who's going to be watching the video later. Today we're going to talk about being woke and focused, right? Being woke and focused. I see this term on Facebook a lot and on social media. I ain't gonna lie, this generation has some of the coolest slang. some of the abbreviations are super cool. LOL has become a word. You know what I'm saying? Laugh out loud. And so one that I've been seeing lately is woke AF. Right, and we know what it means, right? Woke as the F word, you know what I'm saying? And that's just that term is used to denote somebody who's conscious or somebody who's woke, somebody who's aware, right? And they say, man, he woke as boom, she woke, man, she woke. Hey, he woke, man. That dude woke. I like that. I like the term woke. I'm not mad at the term woke at all. I like to say that I'm still waking, though. I'm still waking up. I'm not always woke. If I think I'm woke, sometimes if you think you're there, peace, John Jones. Sometimes if you think you're there, you stop learning. When you think you're there, and that's dangerous. You could be a danger to yourself. And on my personal testimony, the past few years, I've been teaching so much, and I've had the honor to have a few people listen in and a few people to follow and a few people to invest in what we're doing and invest in what I teach, invest their time, and what can happen is that when people start treating you woke, you forget that you still waking up yourself, right? And you start you can start neglecting your own development because you have become the caretaker of other people's development, right? And what you should be doing, the way it should happen, is that you bring people in to walk the walk with you, right? You bring people in to walk the walk alongside you. Y'all develop and you grow together. It's not, we don't want to create the environment where, hey man, I'm the teacher, all y'all the students, just follow me, right? That's robbing me of maybe some light that you have to offer me, right? That's dangerous to my ego, you know, because I may become such a caretaker for other people's inner development and other people's development that I start neglecting my own. And that's happened to me. Okay. That's happened to me to a degree, to a big degree, you know, where I've had to turn my focus. That's why you've seen a lot more of me online and a lot less of me active out there in the community with events and that sort of thing, because I've had to turn my focus back inward, right? Primarily, you know, because there's a certain level, there's a level I want to go. There's a level I want to serve my community. And in order to serve my community at the level I need to, then I have to be disciplined, right? I have to be disciplined in all aspects of my life, right? And so that's very, very key and very important, whether it's financial discipline, right? Emotional discipline, right? I need to find the discipline. That means the route, the measured route to success, the type of behavior I have to exhibit in order to be at my best and reach my full potential. The exercises for you might not be the exercises that are for me, right? So what we have to do as woke people is first be inner woke. First, recognize what it is that we need to do for ourselves in order to be who we want to be for others. Okay. So when you're woke and focused, right, that first focus is inner focus. The first focus is inner focus. Okay. Okay. The inner verse, the inner, INNERG, the energy, the G that's inside you, the God that's inside you. Right. Right. So when we talk about connecting consciousness to the community, right? First, we must connect to the community of self. That's the first thing that we need to do, is connect to the community of self. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to achieve complete inner peace before you engage the community. That don't mean that. It don't mean that you have to have complete inner peace. And it's important to say that, because some people will say, well, I can get out there and do nothing for anybody. I got to get myself straight. Well, you don't got to get yourself all the way straight. You got to get yourself straight enough to help others. Straight enough. You got to get yourself straight enough to help others, right? But there is the level that you need to be to help others, and the level that you need to be to succeed for yourself are two different levels, though. I hope that makes sense, right? Right. So I'm sorry, I was distracted by that. So so being woke first begins with the inner focus, okay, and taking self-evaluations, right? That's where it begins. Okay. I know sometimes we get comfortable like correcting others, you know, and you have some people who dress woke, act woke, use some of the terms, right? Very smart, very enlightened people, but they tend to spend a lot of time judging and analyzing others, right? So I'm not saying these people are not looking at themselves, but you just make sure that you are looking at yourself as well, right? And don't forget, don't get so caught up in your own intelligence that you forget that you're developing as well. I say, so when we're talking woke AF and we're talking about combining it with the community, you know, connecting our consciousness to the community at large, remember that it begins with the community itself. All right. Now, what does it mean? You know, when we say connecting consciousness to the community, what does it mean to be conscious or woke? because conscious and woke, they're synonyms, you know what I'm saying? And some of us say conscious, woke has kind of become the popular term. Conscious was more the term with my generation, you know what I'm saying? You conscious, man, I'm conscious, you conscious, right? What does it mean to be conscious? Because we're talking about connecting the consciousness with the community, right? Healing the disconnect, right? Between consciousness and the community, or saying if there is a disconnect, really to help those who feel disconnected. I guess this is what it's for. You know, it's really more so to help those who feel that since they began, since they went vegan, or since they began looking at the world from an African-centered perspective, that they feel disconnected from Black people, that they feel disconnected from the Black community, even disconnected from their families, right? And I don't mean disconnected in a negative way, right? I mean in a positive way, like, cause some things you need to disconnect from. You need to, if there's rampant drug abuse around you, you need to disconnect from that. You know what I'm saying? If you're poisoning the community, you know what I'm saying? Taking unnecessary penitentiary chances, you need to disconnect from that. You need to disconnect from behaviors. But some of us are struggling with we having disconnects with people that we shouldn't be disconnected from, right? That people with a disconnect is really just based on your new belief system, or based on your new perspective, not vibing with their perspective, rather than y'all really had a true conflict, right? In those relationships, like a parental relationship, for example, with your parents, on average, I'm saying on average, those of us who have a good relationship with our parents before we get into the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And now you've got into the knowledge and it's strained the relationship between you and your parents. So I'm hoping this dialogue will help that as well, right? Because consciousness should bring you closer to those around you. Not closer in the sense to where you engage in some of the negative behaviors or maintain some of the same beliefs, but closer in other ways that matter. Closer in taking responsibility for the family, right? Closer in taking an active role in the lives of your nieces, your nephews, you know what I'm saying? Taking an active role in the lives of the people around you. Consciousness should spur that, right? Pick your nephew up, man, and take him to the park and throw the football. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't allow consciousness or, you know, to disconnect you from doing those things. It's to remind you that those things are necessary, right? So this is to help people that struggle with that. Okay, does that make sense? Right? Connecting the consciousness to the community. So we talked about ourselves. Then we talk about that family, your immediate village that's around you, right? Maintaining a productive relationship. Y'all may never see eye to eye on certain things, right? But it's not necessarily your job to go in and chop everything that your mom or your pops have taught you your whole life. They taught you based on what they know, right? Yes, I tell you know, and that's what I'm talking about, because that relationship has to be, you know, cultivated again. When you come in and you got a renewed mind, you're gonna have to cultivate this relationship. Our goal as conscious people, or people whose goal is to strengthen the Black family, is to heal those rifts, not at the detriment of self, but to always be open for the healing, always be open for the communication. You see what I'm saying? And so that's our goal. Our goal is to maintain that. That's the ultimate goal, is to fix it. That's the ultimate goal, right? Now, and of course, I'm talking about relationships that are fixable and relationships that are that function in a positive way prior to, you know. And even those dysfunctional relationships, a part of your journey is to figure out how to put your part in, because it takes more than just you. But how do I effectively put my piece of medicine in towards the healing of any rift that may have caused, that my accepting E5 may have caused to my Christian family, that my acceptance of Kemetic spirituality, you know, or my rejection of a white Messiah, you know. what any trauma that or anger or fear that may have caused in my family. You know what I'm saying? What are some strategies to help at least not fan that flame, right? And those are some of the strategies that I want to share with y'all today. You know, number one is not an argument. Yeah. Yes. You know, and when we come on strong in the beginning, and that's why I said number one, it's not an argument. Okay. Now y'all may get in debates about things, but it's not an argument. And our temperament is so important when we engage with our loved ones about what we're thinking, about what we believe. Because like Satet says, a lot of times we fear what we don't know, right? And so it's not an argument. So try not to enter into dialogues from an argumentative standpoint. I know in the beginning you kind of be on fire, like yeah. We just you're excited. Don't you see this? This is this. And there's nothing wrong with that period. You gotta have that period. You're excited. You want to share with everybody. You feel like, man, I done picked up on some knowledge. As soon as mom and them see this, as soon as Cookie see this, man, it's on. You know, and you don't get that response all the time. So sometimes you just don't get that response. You come and you find out that the resistance is waiting for you. Like, oh, no. Just give me Jesus. Thank you. You know, no, I'm not trying to hear what you're talking about. You hate white people. Now, I just don't have hate in my heart. You know, like I've had my loved ones say, you know, I've had people say, you know, man, I love what you're talking about. I love what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? You're saying some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I got some white friends. I like white people. Now, I would not have said anything about white people. It could have been a lecture about African-centered education, right? I could be talking about anything that's dealing with us from an African-centered perspective, and you'll have some people that go straight to, how do you feel about white people? The white people question, right? So the Woke and Focus series, we want to talk about strategies to deal with the white people question, right? Because that's a big one. The God question, the white people question, those are probably the big two. Those are probably, if we took a poll, the big two that we have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? When our perspective is shifting, you know, and we're becoming woke and dealing with our loved ones and the people around us. So how do we deal with those questions? How do we deal with those conversations in a way that inflicts as little damage as possible without becoming egotistical and combative ourselves, right? Because what happens after that, irregardless of how that conversation ends, your next job is to let people see what this perspective is doing for you as a person, because that's what they're going to be looking at next. Okay, now that you are militant, stuff like that, can you hold a job though? You finna go to work and start talking that black stuff to your supervisors? Where's your level of responsibility in your life? Are you still gonna finish school? Right? Like, is this gonna take you off the rails, off of your goal or your path in life? How's it gonna affect it? Are you no longer gonna study engineering? Are you about to put on a dashiki and go sell soap at the next expo? Are you going to decide you don't need the system? You're just going to walk away from the system 100%. It's time to separate. And you're going to walk away from the system 100% and get on the Dr. Sebi diet and all that. And you don't need to be working. You don't need to be doing it. You don't need to be doing it. Is that what's about to happen? Move into a tenement and we're going to build a community and da-da-da. You got it. Is that what's about to happen? So all these questions are coming up. All these concerns, all these fears are coming up because the people who love you, they had ideas about where they thought you were going to go. They listened to your dreams over the years. So is your new wokeness, is your new consciousness, is it changing that? Well, you know, cuz such got a white wife. How you going to treat her? Right? How you gonna treat their kids? So those questions are going to come up inside of your circles, inside your family, in those conversations, right? And so I want to develop a series of dialogues where we deal with those questions in detail and deal with strategies on how do you deal with those questions. Then how do you deal with yourself? You have people who experience guilt, that feel guilt because they don't believe in Jesus anymore. You have people who get some information and come out of one thing, but they're not necessarily going into anything. So I find people often in spiritual limbo. That's why probably the third big point in Woke and Focus is know your path. Know your path. Don't leave where you're at unless you know where you're going. Don't leave your support system. You know what I'm saying? Don't leave that. If you're in a good church community, and I'm not talking about the ideology or the belief system, I'm talking about the support system. Many of us belong to church communities that are very supportive, church communities that practice the village concept in its own way. And that's a positive thing. Just because you can disprove the theology don't mean that the church is full of bad people. You got people that you was able to go to when you got evicted. You got people that you were able to go to when times got hard, when you needed somebody to talk to. You know, on more practical level, you got babysitters, people that will watch your children. You may have a whole extended family right there at that church, but you're dealing with learning some new truths or learning some new information, and you're like, I'm not really with that. And I've seen where a lot of people, the first thing they do is they just stop going to church. I'm not going. I can't be up in there with all of that. I can't be up in there with all of that. So my third piece of advice is going to be know your path. Know where you're going. Because what often happens is that when you disconnect from the church because you don't want to hear that or be around that, for many of us, you're losing something else. You're cutting good people out of your life. So my advice is, if you just can't go in it, because you have a right to go where you want to go, but stay connected to your extended family. Stay connected to they may still need you. Okay. And that's righteous. Make sure Miss Lula can still call you so you can talk to her son. Make sure that you still, if you've been doing a sleepover for the girls in the youth ministry, don't stop the sleepover just now because you my Arab. Still do the sleepover or pass it on to somebody. Like, y'all understand what I'm saying? This is the dialogue I want to have, because as I counsel and as I talk to people, these are some of the challenges that they go through. And when you go, when you go through them without conflict, and you start separating people from people, and and you fired up about it, but on the inside there's a decay that's happening. On the inside there's a confusion that's happening. That's why we often see some people who make the transition into consciousness and they're angry. Because if they don't maintain, they feel like they can no longer deal with these folk over here. They can no longer be a part of this here. So they got to stay constantly fired up, because that's the only way. They can ignore the cookout, the yearly church cookout, the church barbecue next Saturday. But you woke now. Man, go to the church barbecue, right? And know your path. Because when you go sit down at the church barbecue, they're going to ask you, what is it that you believe now? And if all you can tell people is what you don't believe, then your path is incomplete. You're going to feel incomplete. Where are you going? Sometimes we're just searching. But say that, because searching is a faith. Okay? Searching for truth is a religion. Searching for truth is the way that many spiritual people live their lives, on active search for spiritual enlightenment, on an active search for truth. So if you're on an active search for truth, say that. But be that as you say that. And as you search for truth, allow those universal principles that you learned in the institution that you came from, to be your foundational core values as you search. Bring the discipline on the search with you. Arm yourself with the discipline that your church, mosque, or temple preaches. Arm yourself with that, because as you're on your search, you're going to run into those who will exploit your search, man. And if you discount everything that other folk taught you because that Jesus is white, you're disarming yourself, and you're doing yourself a disservice. So know your path. Where are you going? And if you don't know the final destination, what's the next stop? I've known people from my generation, they look up their Nation of Islam, they looked up they was Nuwabian, I looked up they was 5%ers, looked up, they was in Ifa. But they were sincere wherever they went. It's just that every regiment was a bridge. They hadn't found a home yet. But you know how you go to church and you visit, say, well, I haven't found a church home, but I like the preaching over here. Then next Sunday you go, well, I ain't found a church home, but I like the choir over here. But it's the same, that's the same thing in the conscious community, man. I'm searching. I ain't found a home yet. And of course, you're gonna have representatives in each house to try to convince you this is home, because they want you there. They want your sincerity there. They want your financial resources there. They want you there. Some just want your money there, but they want you there, right? They want you there to validate what they believe. So yeah, they're going to go hard. You walk up in the Nation of Islam mosque, they're supposed to go hard and tell you God came in the person of Master Muhammad. And the program of the most honored Muhammad is what created Malcolm X. He renamed Muhammad Ali. We, dressed up. Women are respected and they're highly lifted. And they're supposed to do that. They're supposed to do. Yeah, they're going to come and tell you this is the home. They're not going to say this is a home. They're going to say this is the home. Please make mosque number 52 your home. They're building something. Nothing wrong with that. You got some people that'll go through mosque 52 and they'll pick up some things and say, yeah, I'm with this, I'm with this, I'm with this. And then maybe something else may not speak to their spirit. And say, well, okay, well, I love Russell. This part don't speak to my spirit. Something about the bow tie. Maybe I'm not doing the suit. It's just something in me just want to be rough. And it's something in me just still want to wear a dashiki and dress this. And it's just something else calling. Right? But you don't have to leave on bad terms. I'm one of the few people in Fort Worth that can actually go and teach at Mosque 52. I have an excellent relationship. Our first ever full-time student at the Uhuru Academy was Rahmani Muhammad. His mother and father are members of the Nation of Islam. They trusted their son to me from 3rd grade to now. We just graduated him this year. We're graduating him this year. I'm going to share his graduation presentation to everybody on this channel real soon. But that is my family at Mosque number 52. Because there are great people inside of that. I don't go and we don't have to debate who God is. I'm looking to see how did the regimen work on you. And I look up to, I admire certain aspects of the regimen that they are to follow. You have to admire several aspects of the work of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have to admire it. So that relationship is important. And so as someone who is woke, our job, our goal is to try to connect with people based on what we have in common. So I honor that family. When that child comes to the Uhuru Academy, I don't try to switch up the belief system or contradict the belief system at home. Matter of fact, my job is to teach sincerity. My job is to teach character. My job is to teach that you communicate with your family as to what it is you're thinking about and what you're feeling and all those questions that you have. Your job is to honor your mother and father, even when you get to the age of choice and you choose to go another path as far as your belief system or whatever. There are honorable ways and peaceful ways to do that. Right? So knowing your path is important. Respecting the paths of others. That will probably be my fourth point in being woke and focused. So we talked about self, we talked about family, we talked about knowing our path, respecting others, the path of others. Respect, you ain't got to agree, respect. To respect means to acknowledge, to seek understanding. Respect means to honor boundaries. Right? That's respect. Respect means to honor boundaries. Respect means to seek understanding. I ain't no Muslim, but you know how I respect Islam, right? How I show my respect? I study it. I take time out to study it. If you're not into Islam, know what part of Islam you're not into. Respect. How do you know you're not something if you reject it just because it's different from what you're familiar with? That's not respectful, right? So respecting the path of others, if you're a part of their path, if you're put in their path, be a positive light in that path. If the ancestors put you in the path of somebody else, make sure that you are operating how you are supposed to operate in that path. I pray that you're to operate in good character. Right? We have to respect each other's path. Respect. I didn't say agree with. I said respect. Understand that path. So in connecting consciousness to the community, right? When you look at somebody who's going down what you might call a street path or a hustling path, right? You have to respect that path in the sense that you need to gain understanding of that path. Sometimes it's easy for us to dehumanize someone that we see on a certain path. He a drug dealer. He deserves whatever he get. He deserves to go to the white man. He out there selling dope, selling poison to his people. He deserves to get got. Now he has a path too. He has a path as well, right? And you may not agree with where he is right now on his or her path, but they have a path just the same. Remember, Malcolm was a hustler. He was in the streets too. Malcolm was in the penitentiary when light came to him. He was serving a 7-year sentence for robbery when light came to him. He was a heroin addict. So when you become desensitized, as we are in our generation, you might see a drug addict and you just ask a dope fiend and you write them off. You just write them off. But what if that dope fiend is Malcolm? What if that young thug, you know what I'm saying, is the next great leader? What if within his spirit, he houses the solution to some issues inside of our community? What if crossing your path? What if you being a part of that formula, figuring out a way to be a part of the formula inside of that path could affect that formula, you know what I'm saying, and take his path where he's actually meant to go? Or give him more options along his path. Because you do have options on your path. Just because you have ownership of it, right? It doesn't mean you won't have options to divert, options to get off the path. But you have the power to determine your path and the character that we build, our core values. That's our shielding. That's our protection, right? That helps us, not only build the path, then our knowledge. Not just you gotta marry your core knowledge with information, your core values with information. You marry your core values with information about your surroundings, information about your environment, the people around you, information about yourself, and then you forge a path into the future for yourself. But you have to understand the past. You have to and understanding the past, learning the past determines how you see the future, right? How you see the past determines how you see the future. How you see the future determines, how you see the present determines how you see the future. Right? So you have to also understand the path that came before you. You need to understand the history of any community that you walk in. Say, man, we're going to teach some Black history in the apartments. What's the history of those apartments? How long they been there? What's the demographics inside those apartments? Peace, Wichita in the house. Do the research. I started my work in Butler housing, so-called projects in Fort Worth almost 30 years ago. Shout out to brother Ricky Clark, now with my brother's keeper, MBK. Beautiful, powerful brother right there. Taught me how to teach. But I had to know the history of Butler housing. You know what I'm saying? That it was a settlement that has been there for over 5 generations. That it was basically a camp, internment camp for Black people in Fort Worth. So I had to understand the demographics. I had to understand who I was dealing with down the hill, who was I dealing with up the hill. But in order to do that, you have to rehumanize that has been dehumanized. You have to become a listener. Many of us get so arrogant in our knowledge that we forget how to listen to other people. Right? So knowing your path, understanding and respecting the path of others. Right? And then being a positive force when you cross other people's path. If that's your goal. Of course, it takes 2 to tango, 3 to tango, 4 to tango, but focus on what you're bringing to that interaction with the next person. Right? I hope I'm making sense to you all. Y'all have any questions for me? Any questions so far, you know what I'm saying, about being woke and focused, about connecting consciousness to the community, to the people around us? Any questions? Remember, lean on your core value system. Lean on that. When you're connecting, when you're communicating, recognize that you may be bringing an overdeveloped ego into consciousness with you. I definitely recommend Dr. Naeem Akbar's Community of Self. Really good book. It's not too long. We've done a study group on it that deals with self-awareness. Right? So you definitely want to deal with that, right? Consciousness, right? To be conscious is just to be aware. To be conscious is to be awake. Right? To pay attention to what's going on around you. Black consciousness is to be aware, you know what I'm saying, aware of the Black experience. To be Black consciousness is to be aware of who you are in the African diaspora, right? How you fit into the tapestry of humanity and the tapestry of history, So Black consciousness allows you to recognize attacks. It allows you, Black consciousness allows you to recognize what's good, what was to a detriment, and to judge those things based on wanting the best for yourself, not wanting to fit in or be accepted by other people. That's what Black consciousness allows you to do. Because when you make decisions for yourself based on how you think other folks are going to accept you as a result of those decisions, you can often hurt yourself. Because what you gain, you often sacrifice something healthy for you to gain to make things easier for other people. That's kind of like Black America's relationship with white America. What will you give me? What sacrifice do I need to make, white people, in order to make you feel more comfortable? Oh, you don't like my hair? I'll straighten it. Oh, you don't like how we talk at home? I'll talk like you in public. All Oh, you don't want me to talk about racism at all? I won't bring it up. Like what sacrifices do I need to make you happy? That's not healthy. That's not Black consciousness. Black consciousness says, you know what? What sacrifices can we all make to keep peace? What sacrifices can we all make to enjoy mutual success, to enjoy mutual ownership? Black consciousness says we demand that conversation with humanity and no other conversation. Black consciousness says, okay, I gave that up. Now, what are you giving up? Black consciousness says, okay, should we live together or should we live apart? Let's break that down and analyze it. Right? And Black consciousness says, I'm connected to the rest of these people over here. I'm connected culturally. I'm connected spiritually to my people. We have a commonality. We have a common path going backwards. Our ancestors have intertwined and interconnected with one another. We come from distinct cultures that have been hidden from us or stolen from us. We connect on so many levels. How can I build upon that connection? How can I build upon that connection to run a successful business? How can I build upon that connection to protect myself, to protect my family? Y'all understand? I'm going to write more about Black consciousness and what it allows us to do. Whether everything seems backwards says, how did you connect with the children? Wow. It's funny because when I first got into this, I didn't think I liked children. And I was a child, I was 18. My paradigm shifted when I was a student at Wiley College back in 1991. And I came home and a lot of things were happening in the community. And number one, I felt for the first time a sense of duty when I came home. When I went to school, my whole goal was to get away from the hood, right? I took a Black Studies course while I was there. I got a little deeper into the research, and it had a profound effect on my spirit. Particularly the autobiography. When I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, it had for whatever reason, his story had a profound effect on my spirit, and it showed me a side of our struggle here in America that I had never seen before. Up to then, I said, okay, back of the bus. I said slavery, but did you really see slavery? Saw roots, but it was kind of like that was them. That's not us. I wasn't connected to that. I even did a paper in 11th grade on Marcus Garvey and didn't feel connected to that at all because I didn't know the history. And man, I went to school and I started, particularly when I read Malcolm's story, it just flipped every now. I started noticing everything. Like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, this makes sense. And so when I came home, I didn't go back to Wiley College. I came home and I got involved. And I started looking for Black groups and everything. And I ended up hanging with the Nation. And then ultimately, I ended up hooking up with Ricky Clark and Butler Housing. And he was teaching a Black history course there and teaching them how to step. And so I was visiting. I was young, you know, and it was an 8-year-old named Wally Bear, you know, and he's an ancestor now, you know. And Wally Bear came over me because I said, okay, I'm gonna teach them some steps. And Wally Bear came over me and said, man, you look nervous. I said, yeah, I am a little bit. And he was like, man, don't worry, I got you. You'll do all right. You good, you know. And I felt protected by this little 8-year-old, you know. And I was like, wow. You know, this is okay. Okay, there's wisdom. Okay, this is cool. This gonna work out. It's gonna be all right. And I taught them a step that I knew, and the connection was instantly made. It's like it's like somebody plugged me into the socket that I belong to be in. You know, and it is. I just instantly connected, and I instantly understood who I was talking to. Okay. I understood that I was dealing with more than just children, that I was dealing with the future. I understood, for some reason, just hit my spirit how important that was at that time, because I thought about Malcolm, I thought about Haiti, I thought about Mali, I thought about slavery and our enslaved ancestors and everything. And I'm in the projects right now. I'm teaching a Black History class. Well, this brother's teaching a Black History class. I'm about to augment that with a step, or we're gonna put a little Black History chant with it. That these babies are feeling good about it, and I understood I'm reconnecting them to self. I'm helping to reconnect them to self, and I felt the power of it instantly. Instantly. You know, like that point in the movie where the superhero finally puts on his real uniform. You know, Spider-Man being some jeans when he first get his power. He's swinging around, he falling all over the place. Then all of a sudden he get knocked down and gets up, and he was like, that was me, because I had quit school. I had stopped going to Wiley College. I didn't quit school. I transferred to junior college. I left a scholarship behind, you know, and I was searching. And right there in that moment, boom. So now that's how it happened for me personally on a practical sense, right? What I would advise someone to do that wanted to connect with children, number one, safety first. That's why self-awareness is important. Where is your energy? Where is your spirit? Are you humble and excited to be there? That's number one. Where are you? Where are you mentally? Are you teaching out of frustration? Are you on a war path? You got to be honest with yourself. Where are you before you step in here? Because what you got to recognize is that they're not on the war path yet. They're not on the war path. Some of them are at war with each other, but most are not on a war path. They're not at that. They're not where you are energy wise yet. You have to make that assumption, right? But they have great energy, and they have a lot of energy, and you got to be ready to match the energy, not fight the energy. So before you go in and connect with children, the first thing you have to do is a self-check. Every morning before I start class, I do a self-check. Where am I mentally? Am I energetic today? Because that means I'm going to deliver this. Sometimes I'm feeling extra energetic. I change my whole lesson plan. Like, I'm energetic, so I can deliver that workshop I've been wanting to deliver. Because this is how I feel today. Right? So that's the first thing, right? For the next thing, so safety first. Little girls have to feel safe around you. Feel safe around you. Frowns. Little girls don't like frowns. Frowned up Black men. You think that projects strength. You know what I'm saying? And but sometimes you're projecting fear on people who should feel safe around you. Right? So soften your stance when you go around children. Okay. Soften your stance, right? Follow your nature. I follow my nature. I'm not a mother to my students. I'm a Baba to my students, right? So whatever you want to define that to be culturally, for me, the Baba is more of the disciplinarian. The Baba is more of the critical thinker. I'm going to challenge you to critically think. I'm less nurturer, more challenger, right? Also, you have to be a listener. Listen to children. Don't oppress children. Listen to children. Don't mean let them do what they want to do. I said listen to children. Pay attention to children. Be open to paying attention to children and be able to explain mathematically why you're telling them to do what you're telling them to do. Just because I say so. I understand that. Don't misuse that. People misuse that with children all the time. Do that just because I said so. Make sure you've ingrained to them why your say so can be trusted. Okay? Make sure that when they question you, it's not because you have lied before. And you might say, well, I didn't really lie. I said I was going to come Saturday, but I had a flat. Well, to them, that's a lie. The lie was you said you was going to come Saturday and you didn't come. So the next time you tell them to do something, don't trust your judgment. Just a part of you needs to recognize that I did that. Let me do a self-check. Have I given them reason to not trust my judgment? And if you give them reason, then it's okay to give them an explanation. Well, we're gonna go to bed early tonight because tomorrow you're in the chess competition and we need to be up at 5 o'clock. I want to make sure you get at least 7 hours of sleep. I think that's a good strategy. So be a listener. How you listen dictates how you respond. How you listen. So when I say be a good listener, you must say, I listen, but how do you listen? Are you an active listener? I really love to play hopscotch, Bob. What? You said you love to play hopscotch? Repeating tells a child what? I listen. Right? Don't give quizzes to show how smart you are when connecting with children. Right? That's even with adults. Okay. All right, who are you to tell me if Africa is a country or a continent? You don't know, do you? Uh-huh. Yeah. How about how long is the Nile River? I know, I know you can't tell me. Yeah, they're not liking you right now. Thank you for coming in here and making me feel stupid before you talk to me. I really appreciate that. And those of us with information, we have to understand no one likes to feel stupid. No one likes to feel dumb. Right? And beyond that, people see that you ain't perfect, even though you know some stuff. You still put your pants on one leg at a time. You're not levitating. You're not levitating. Right? So be confident, stand firm on what you believe in, but be a listener and don't come in giving people a test. Right? Ask permission to teach. Man, can I show you something? Hey, yo, can I share something with you? See what they already doing. If they playing catch, right? They playing catch with a football, right? Right? Segue into that. Oh, man, you could catch, man. You could catch. Boy, you remind me of a Mandinka soldier, man. Man, that boy run. He tall like a Maasai. What's a Maasai? He tall like a Maasai warrior. Right? Man, how y'all playing out here in this sun, man? That might open up a conversation about melody. Right? Man, let me see it. Let me see it. Boom. Show them you can throw. Show them you can throw. Boom. Yeah, man, I'm just over here, man. I like to talk to young people about African history. I teach Black history. You know what I'm saying? Me and my comrades, we over at the park. We got a little thing going. Got some pizza. Got some fruit over there for y'all. If y'all want to come check out, learn something. Do y'all learn history in school? Always interrupt yourself. Always interrupt yourself with a question. People don't like long bunch of talking and stuff. You find yourself, when I find myself doing too much talking, I interrupt myself with a question to get me off the mic. Right? Get yourself off because you know, Black man. Interrupt yourself, man. What you think about that? Interrupt yourself with a question and get him a turn to talk. Man, y'all got history in school. What y'all learn about it in school? I don't know, man. Harry Tubman, slavery. Man, please. We finna have fun. We're gonna play a game. We finna have fun over at the park. All right, we'll be over there, and then you go. You leave. You don't say, come with me. You leave. Talk to some more people. Then you get them. You talk to some adults. Don't be shy about talking to adults. Peace, how you doing, man? What's up, Black man? What's up, Black woman? Shit, just walk in the community right quick. We doing a little class over there. You know what I'm saying? If your babies ain't got nothing to do, we teach some history, but we got some pizza. The whole family, y'all can come on over there, man. We doing that. They gonna recognize that. They recognize that energy. If the energy is where it needs to be. If the energy is where it needs to be. Not hard. I'm conscious and I'm here to teach the Negroes. No. They can look at how you dress, how you look, man. Look the part. Put your beads on. Put your dashiki on. Walk with your flag. Look the part. They see that red, black, and green flag. People know what that is. Look the part. But have something tangible to offer. Right? So when they come over there to you, you got something. Play a game with them. It's a game called Who Am I? Who Wants to Play? Learn some icebreakers. Arm yourself. Arm yourself with activities and things to do so you're ready. Hope that helped answer your question on connecting with children. Consistency. If you say you're coming back next week, come back next week. Consistency. I was speaking with the brothers at Philander Smith College, and there's a apartment complex just a few blocks away, you know, and they have this beautiful campus. Man, they serve great food and all that. I said, man, it'd be cool if y'all just went and got a group of youth, right? Hey, Nuri, that'd be cool. I told the brothers, that'd be cool if you went and got a group of youth and just brought them over every other Saturday or every Saturday. Maybe do twice a month, then once a month. But what if you can go in that community over there, right? And you got children over there live down the street from a college campus that still have never visited a college campus. You can start exposing them to an HBCU right now. Just like they remember the church van come through the hood, the HBCU van should be going through the hood too. I said, your men's group, man, just bring them in here and teach them how to play chess. Bring them in here and play checkers. Bring them in here. Get them on campus. Walk in there, create a relationship with the office, create a relationship with some parents. Let them know it's what you want to call it, a Jagnaship program. Let them know it ain't going to cost you, you don't need no funding. And just bring them on the campus. Tell them they're great. Tell them they're powerful. Watch a movie. Feed them. Let them play games. Have a video game tournament. Just start exposing them to education. Then send them home with pamphlets and pieces of paper that say you're black, you're strong, you're powerful. You know what I'm saying? If they got a phone, hit their phone with little gifts, little powerful black power gifts that say, too black, too strong. Give them stuff. Give them books. Give them stuff to take home. Say, man, every time I go up to the college, we come home with a bunch of stuff. Y'all, that don't cost nothing. And then you got to be consistent, though. What if every HBCU had an outreach program? Just like there's just a simple grassroots outreach program. Simple one. You adopt the hood that's nearest you. You have TSU, and I'm sure there's some efforts out there to do things like that at various colleges. I'm sure there are efforts like that, right? But that's just an example what we talked about at Philander. Brothers are determined to implement it. Right? So to be woke and focused, it's all about connecting what we know to the community. If it's health and wellness, how are we going to implement? How we think of some creative ways to get this information out to the community, right? And I know we want to, how do I get more people to buy in? How do I get more people to buy in? The proof is always in the pudding. Shout out to Sister Amin Mills, man. She's outside of Houston now. She's from the phone, She's gotten into health and wellness, and she's opened up a shop, and she's promoting with holistic health and going into business and connecting with other people in the business, and they're building a network. She was up here giving out alkaline water. Shout out to my boy Prince Pierre doing the alkaline water thing. Y'all get active. Be active with what you're doing and let people see. Let people see what it's doing for you. You're not just going to get everybody by just screaming at the top of your lungs. But if you want to connect that consciousness to the community, be there for other things. Sponsor a tournament. Do a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Why not? They already love basketball. We need to get away from basketball. No, not yet. Okay? Attach alkaline water to the basketball tournament. Attach Dr. Sabi, to the chess tournament. Attach your health and wellness line to the car show. The things that we're already doing. Eastside Family Day, for example, and Stop 6 was yesterday. Should have been the health and wellness people got to be out there. Not yelling at them. Not the megaphone. Just need my card, man. Need a card. If you know somebody in your family dealing with high blood pressure, somebody in your family dealing with diabetes, here you go. That's what I do, and whoop de whoop. That's what you do. Yeah, because they say, they ain't just some sweet things to get diabetes, then you go into your thing. Yeah, you could do this happens, you can deal with this. I know somebody that did, then you boom. And you're in there. but you have to maintain your love for your people. You have to see the divinity and the beauty in the people that you're talking to. Last point today, and we're done. Be careful. Be careful who you allow into your cipher. And I'm just telling you these things that I've learned over the years. This is based on my experience. Be careful about who you allow in your cipher. Be careful about and mindful to guard the energy that's around you. It's very important. Don't assume because somebody says black power with you that they have an energy that you need around you or that's healthy for you. And what I mean by healthy for you is not saying that it's necessarily going to be bad people. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying you're going to have sellouts and coons around. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about even people you love can be in a space that doesn't help you, can be in a space that's a challenge to your energy, a challenge to where you're moving. I said be mindful of it. Because sometimes there are people that you can't separate from. So you're going to have to learn how to deal. You got to learn how to mesh. You got to learn how to move and maneuver one another into position where you're helping each other, complementing each other. But there are some people you can help. There are some people that appeal to another part of you that's self-destructive, that you may allow. They may say black power too, but they black power and I cheat. They're black. They're black power and I'll get high with you. They're black power and we'll go find females together with you. They're black power and you understand what I'm saying? We'll violate our families together. We'll dog out women. We'll take advantage of this and take advantage of that. We'll steal together. We'll con together, but we'll say black power together. And you got to watch them too. Right? So you have to be mindful about your circle, mindful about the people that you have around you in that space. That's very important. Also, you if you're trying to create something new, like for me, I can't do a lot of naysay in my immediate vicinity because I'm a visionary, and visionaries take risks, right? So we want our nays based on calculations, not based on belief. Like if somebody tell me, no, that ain't gonna work, I need the formula. I need to know, okay, how did you work the formula and come to that conclusion? It can, I just got a feeling. I just got to see. I can't do that because I'm a risk taker. So I can't go on there. I can, I don't know. I'm not, that ain't gonna work. I need to know, you analyze the plan. What aspect of the plan do you feel is going to be a challenge? See, that's being woke. Now I need you to be woke and tell me, break down why it's not going to work. Because that part I have to listen to. Now, people ain't going to want that. People ain't going to want. Whenever somebody starts something off with people ain't going to want, I know they haven't done a poll. I know they haven't done a study. And I know that they're people. You're people. Now, people ain't going to come out for that. You're the people that ain't going to come out for that. And we feel like we know sometimes what everybody's going to respond to. We feel like we know, but I'm a visionary. I'm a risk taker, right? So I need to know if how you know that it's based on actual application. So did you offer this? And they said no. Then if you say, yeah, then I want to know, well, how did you offer it? Maybe we can offer it in a different way, because what we agree on is that they need what we're trying to offer. So maybe let's break down all of our failures so we could come up with a new formula instead of abandoning something because we think it ain't gonna work. Because then sometimes we abandon a strategy because we're afraid of it. We're afraid to implement it. So sometimes fear make us say that ain't gonna work. Sometimes that's fear that makes us say that. And then you project that fear onto somebody else. Let's be scared together. That ain't gonna work. and I need him not to want to go. So we won't. So we'll vote against it. I mean, but you really just scared, man. They're gonna beat us up if we go over there. Man, this is gonna happen. Go over there. Okay, that might be a valid concern, but voice that concern. And sometimes instead of voicing the concern, we just condemn the idea because now you don't want to. Now you're afraid to deal with the concern inside the circle. So you got to watch that type of behavior as well. People who will manipulate the argument because they don't feel like they can adequately defend their concern or voice it or articulate it. I hope that's making sense as well. So be mindful of who's around you. Be mindful of the energy that you're allowing to come in. Have work rituals in your life to get people's energy up off of you. Go back to your meditation. Go back to your altar. Go back to your prayer, your exercise. Work that energy off of you. If we're going to connect the consciousness to the community, we have to realize that a connection goes both ways, and the connection has to fit in that there's going to be something plugged into you and something that you're plugging into the connection. As someone who's conscious, you have to control and be mindful of what's being plugged into you. You have to be appreciative of that that's positive. You have to be ready to cleanse yourself of that that's negative. And then you have to be aware of what you're going to plug into the community, the positive and the negative. I bring education to the community. If I have to say that I had a challenge, it's economic development. That's my challenge. That's where I need partnerships. That's where I need partnerships, economic development. I understand it. I can articulate it. Implementation, obviously, in building the Uhuru Academy and choosing education, developing a model that's going to be economically feasible, not only for myself, but also empower us to create jobs and create industry within the African-centered education movement. That's the challenge. That's where we seek partners. But I know what I bring into the equation, and I stay in my lane. So after doing some self-evaluation over the work that we've done over the past few years, it is painfully obvious to me that there are areas to improve. On every point that I told you, there's areas to improve within what we're working on and what we're building. And we're looking for people to partner with us that want to walk on that journey with us. Okay? Y'all have any more questions? Any more questions? I have a birthday party to get ready for. We're celebrating Uzuri, and Usawa's birthday this week. You know, and I hope this helped. I hope this was helpful. I think we really need to continue the conversation. I want to be there for people who are, quote unquote, waking up for the first time. I have a niece, a young lady that's been contacting me, asking, what does she do? Because she's studying different things outside of what the family has grown up on, and her family's starting to question her. Her family's they threatening to take resources away from her, the whole 9 yards, but she's feeling she wants to search. She has, the journey, and so I'm helping to guide her on that journey, in a way that's not controlling. Number one, I don't control where you go. I'm not telling you what to believe, right? But I would like to help you with your temperament. I would like to help you with your strategies. I would like to be there to help remind you about your core values. You know what I'm saying? And so, and to help you maintain a healthy picture of those who love you. Help you maintain a healthy mentality towards those who love you, who are just simply concerned because they're afraid. And they're concerned about where you're going. And I want to be there. And I hope that makes sense to you all. But I really think that that's a part of the calling of the Uhuru Academy, is to help us make that transition into consciousness. All right. I appreciate your time. Those of you who got something from this, please stay in contact with me. Continue to share my posts, continue to share my videos, let people know that we're here. Again, it's a series. I'm going to do some static courses. I'm going to pre-record some courses and talk a little bit more about the history of Black consciousness, the role that Black consciousness has played in successful revolutions, in keeping us in the fight, the whole 9 yards. So stay tuned for that. But I appreciate your time. I hope you got something out of this lesson today. We're just opening the dialogue. What does it mean to be woke AF? What does it mean to be woke and focused? Woke and focused. We have to connect the consciousness to the community. How do we do that? So hope we got something out of it today. I appreciate you. Black love is Black power. Peace and blessings to you all.